Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Mother-in-Laws from Hell and it's by user okay then. Mother-in-law complains to my husband that I'm not communicating with her regarding my pregnancy. Hi, I'm gonna try to keep this short for your sake, but there's quite a bit to address before we get to the current issue, so bear with me. I, 25 female, have been with my husband 23 since high school. We have been married for a year and a half. I absolutely love and adore him. However, our relationship has had some rough patches, and most of them point back to his mother. Throughout our entire relationship, she has dished out passive aggression, competitive behavior, and just disrespectful remarks. For example, she's just too sensitive and needs to grow thicker skin. I laughed it off for years until a few months ago. I finally had it and had a sit-down conversation with her and my husband. I was very calm and respectful, but to the point. I made it very clear that I was hurt by her passive-aggressive behavior and walking into rooms where she was talking about me behind my back. She deflected and took no accountability at all. She told me, "I don't remember any of this, but I'm sorry you feel that way." And, well, relationships are shaped at an early stage, and if this is how you feel, then maybe there's no coming back from this. I had told her that I wanted that conversation to be the opportunity to move forward and work to have a healthy relationship. The next day, she told my husband that I was hostile to her during the conversation, even though my husband was there and even told me he was proud of me for being so respectful given the circumstances. She also cried to the rest of the family and made me the villain. I decided I was not going to be pouring any energy into that relationship anymore. She crossed the boundaries I had just stated so clearly. I didn't cut her off, just started grey-rocking her. She avoided me, gave me the silent treatment, and would play the victim any chance she could to my husband, saying things like, "I'm walking on eggshells," and "the situation with you two really crushed me, almost ruined me." Since then, I have welcomed her into my home a couple times, and she acted like a wounded puppy around me and gave me the silent treatment in my own home. Now, flash forward to today. I am 12 weeks pregnant. We announced it to family on Christmas, and since then it has been radio silence from his mother. Not once has she reached out to me to ask how I've been doing. Nothing. However, she did text my husband to guilt trip him about us not letting her know we were going to get my ultrasound. We didn't post anything, but spoke with my husband's grandma over the phone about it, and that's how his mom found out, and she was angry that she wasn't the first to know. Now, the newest text to my husband was, "Still waiting for spontaneous check-ins regarding pregnancy. Opie doesn't communicate with me and I'm not comfortable texting her." My blood was boiling. The triangulation is ridiculous. Anyway, my husband tells her to maybe start reaching out so it's not awkward, and she texts me this today. "It might be nice to get together soon so I can find out about how things are going, what plans might be. I'm sure you two are busy, but I don't really hear about anything, and I don't message because I'm not really great about it and don't want to be intrusive. That being said, I would like to be involved a bit, and maybe this is a better way, getting together every so often. Thoughts? I'm happy to text you, I just honestly don't know if you want me to." And then follows up with, "Wasn't blaming at all, by the way. Please don't take it that way. I'm awful with texting. Apparently not today. Smiley face. I know your husband is busy with work and I absolutely remember what the first part of pregnancy feels like. All I wanted to do was sleep. I didn't want to bug you two with a bunch of messages. Smiley face. I'm trying to do better, but as you know, if you guys need anything." Knowing everything and how she is, I read this as passive-aggressive and guilt-tripping, hidden behind the mask of care or wanting to be helpful. Am I crazy? I don't want to share a lot of information because this is a very vulnerable and special time for my husband and I. I just didn't respond. My husband and I both want to address it with her and set very clear boundaries with her and let her know the entitlement behavior is a definite no-no. But I'm also just done. I don't want to talk to her anymore. Advice from an outsider perspective? Yikes, OP, your mother-in-law's a piece of work. She definitely knows how to slither. Look, in my opinion, the most important thing is that both you and your husband are exactly on the same page and have each other's back. That your husband at no point is going to turn around and to try to get you to talk more to his mom, that he knows exactly how she is. That's the first conversation you need to have, just in case you haven't had it already. Now, regarding having a sit down with your mother-in-law, you already did that, and she still didn't want to change her behavior. The only reason why now she's acting so nice to you is because you're having a baby and she wants access to it. So if I was in your situation and you are absolutely in line with your husband, I wouldn't talk to her face to face. I would reply by text, so there is documentation of it. And I'd say something like, "You're absolutely right. All I want to do is sleep. Thanks for the offer. If and when we need your help, we'll let you know." And leave it at that. Then your husband needs to know that his mom is going to do anything she can to try to get him on her side. He can't let that happen. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Spare Tutor 8057 says, "She's in damage control because baby is coming, so you have something she wants. She knows she has to play nice so she can get her foot in the door." Sneaky Seer says, "Did you notice it's all about her wants and needs? She wants to be more involved, etc. She didn't ask once if you needed or wanted her help or anything. Nothing about you. So match her energy and continue grey rocking." Viola Swamp says, "Mom, you don't have a spontaneous check-ins kind of relationship with my wife. She tried to address the issue between you, and you were dismissive and denied any responsibility for building a relationship. So this is what you get. Pregnancy is her medical condition, and you aren't going to be involved. Sorry if that bothers you, but you can't be disinterested in OP as a person and push her away for years, then suddenly expect her to call you and give you intimate details about her body and her daily life because you want something different now that she's having a grandchild. That's not how relationships work, and that's pretty insulting. OP isn't an incubator, the means for you to become a grandmother. She's a person, your daughter-in-law, my wife. You can't expect her to give you updates on the pregnancy when you have never shown any interest in her before. That's rude and transparent. I'm really disappointed in you, and I definitely don't expect my wife to put up with this disrespectful behavior." And Ipso Pacto Facto says, "The only way to win is not to play. She wants access to the baby. Send a checkmark text and give her no information. Tell your husband self-respect and self-preservation mean you don't chase people for attention and you don't share personal medical information with someone who usually acts as if you're not in the room and gives you the silent treatment. I'd be polite and indifferent, and she'd be the last to know anything from me. No appointments, no gender reveal, no at the hospital, no first visit, no babysitting. Your husband can handle her. Ship has sailed. She's not on your team, so she gets polite and nothing else." And Legitimate Ad 707 says, "She wants your baby and doesn't give an F about your whole existence other than an incubator. If you let her in, it will get worse, and you will be back explaining she's taking over everything. This behavior and mother-in-law dynamic has been seen thousands of times here. It doesn't get better. Like, never with this type of control freak and manipulative woman. You did an amazing job ignoring her. Keep going and enjoy your pregnancy. Congrats on the future bub." Community agrees OP did a great job grey rocking and that she and her husband need to stay united and keep that woman at bay. She will not change. So now, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Thank you all for your advice and support. I also appreciate the people who play devil's advocate, just so I can see a different perspective. With all of that said, I received another text today from mother-in-law. I did not respond yesterday because I didn't know what to say, and I don't think she liked that. This is the text I got today. "Good afternoon. Just wanted to follow up and see if you received my texts yesterday afternoon. I know I don't always see my new texts. Thank you." It took a while to figure out exactly what to say, and actually went with one of the ideas in this thread. I thought it was very respectful but straightforward. My dear husband agreed, and I sent it. This is what I sent. "Thanks for reaching out, mother-in-law. At the moment, there isn't much about the pregnancy to talk about. We are trying to keep life simple and stress-free. not really planning anything beyond that at the moment. Myself and baby are healthy, and dear husband and I are slowly sorting out what our preferences are. If and when we have updates, dear husband will share them with you. Thank you for understanding. Her response was the following. Maybe we can clear something up if you don't mind. Is it me you don't want to hang out with, or you don't want to discuss the baby? The baby is not the only reason I was asking to see you. I'm happy to get coffee and just be. No set to date, no pressure or expectations. Just a road to friendship. If it's me, well, that's something different. Awkward question, but thank you for understanding why it would be nice to know. I feel like she is trying to save face and control the narrative of the conversation. She had shown zero signs of wanting a friendship with me, actually the opposite, prior to her texting my husband with her complaints about how I don't communicate with her about our baby information. I feel that the conversation changed direction after I made the boundary clear that we won't be pressured into sharing information. Then she changed it to, I want friendship. Am I reaching with this one? Part of me questions whether I'm overanalyzing because my nervous system is on edge with her, or if it's just pattern recognition. Thoughts? Also, dear husband is going to be reaching out to her tomorrow in writing and making it clear that there will be no more guilt tripping or entitlement going forward. And of course, I will not be responding to her last message, nor will I be communicating any updates. Only dear husband will be. Thanks for all the help. Willoughby, I think you and your husband are handling this the best way possible. You're not going to bend the knee with those manipulative texts, and any communication will go through your husband. That way, you can just enjoy your pregnancy and stop talking to that woman. So here's wishing you the best, OP. Thanks for sharing and take care. And now, let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user Online Shopping 2023. Am I the a-hole for insisting my daughter wear an outfit she doesn't want to wear to a wedding? I'm looking for some help in a situation with my kids. We're attending my brother's wedding at the end of the month. My younger daughter, 7, is a flower girl. The bride, who is my brother's fiancé, took us to a local shop she liked so we could pick out the flower girl dress. My older daughter, 12, is not in the wedding party. She's too tall to be a flower girl, but she still needed something appropriate to wear as a guest. She's very tall, almost 6 feet for her age, which makes shopping in person challenging. We went to several stores and tried on a number of outfits, but nothing fit her right or was age appropriate or was something she liked. So I ordered her dress online from a store called Lulu's. When it arrived, it fit her well and was in a color she liked. At the time, it felt like the best option. My oldest is upset because her sister got her dress in person with the bride involved and got to go out to lunch afterward, while her dress was bought online. She says it isn't fair and has said she refuses to wear it, even though there's nothing actually wrong with the dress itself. I explained that we did try to find something in stores and that this was the option that worked, but she still feels hurt. I'm not sure whether I should insist she wear it or try to find another solution this close to the wedding. Am I the a-hole for expecting her to wear the outfit anyway? Willoughby, as to your question, no, I don't think you're the a-hole. I also don't think the problem your daughter has is with the dress. Maybe she feels bad because she thinks that the whole outing to get her sister's dress was like a special thing for the sister with a lunch and everything, but it was just about getting the dress in my opinion, right? Because from what I understand from your post, your older daughter was also there with you guys when you went to get lunch. So it wasn't like a celebratory lunch for your younger daughter getting a dress. I would assume you guys were just done buying dresses at around lunchtime and went to get lunch. I think you should sit down with your daughter and to talk about her feelings. What about this whole situation bugs her? Try to explain it the best way you can so she can understand it, and then offer her some one-on-one time with you and you guys can go out and get lunch together. And what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Mira de Falco says, oh, I remember this. She's caught between too young for the grown-up clothes, too tall for the clothes meant for her age group. Did she actually get into on picking the dress, or was it just presented to her as, here's what you get? When patience with the search ran dry, I could see that making her feel like a misfit problem to be solved rather than a welcomed participant. Try to find another solution and treat it like it's a pleasure to help her with this, because right now she seems to feel like it was an ordeal that had to be pushed through. And don't confine your search to the children's stores. That's going to be a real challenge with her height. An adult dress that's quietly elegant rather than overtly sexy might be just the thing. Pumpkin Bubbles says, soft, you're the a-hole focusing on the dress rather than her feelings. I'm sure it's difficult for a girl to be so tall at 12, and this situation highlighted what she perceives as negatives. I love the other commenters' ideas about taking her shopping for accessories, take her to lunch, make her feel heard and included, explain why, expect her to wear the dress. Maybe invite the bride or text her photos so your oldest daughter feels like an important part of the day, even though she doesn't have a formal role in the wedding. And Asking for a Friend says, girl, take her shopping, take her to lunch, make her wear the dress you already bought. Simple. 12-year-olds don't run the world and they shouldn't run your family. Alright, I think the community was able to give OP some things to think about. So now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. Hello everyone, I wanted to post an update on a post I made because a lot has happened since my original post, and I did take the comments to heart, even the ones that were hard to read. First, many of you were right. This was never about just the dress. After the post, we tried to do what a lot of commenters suggested and planned a makeup shopping day just for my older daughter. I thought framing it as her special day would help. Unfortunately, it didn't go well. She's been getting into very girly, frilly styles lately and loves pop artists like Sabrina Carpenter. That's the aesthetic she wants. The problem is that those styles just don't work well on her body right now, and every time something didn't fit or looked wrong, it felt like confirmation of everything she already hates about being tall. She ended up having a full meltdown in one of the stores. What finally came out was that she hates how everything that fits her makes her look grown up, when she doesn't feel grown up at all. She hates the comments she gets about her height, how mature she looks, how people assume she's into makeup, skincare, boys, etc. She isn't. She still likes cartoons, dolls, and kid stuff, and she hates how people tell her that she's too old for those things just because of how she looks. The breaking point that day was actually at a thrift store where she found a dress she loved on the rack and was so excited about it, and then it just didn't work on her body at all. That's when she completely lost it. There's also a lot of jealousy and hurt around her sister. Her younger sister is getting positive attention for being cute and little and a flower girl, while my older daughter feels like all of the attention she gets is negative or uncomfortable. My daughter admitted she didn't even want to go to the wedding anymore, not just because of the dress, but because she already feels like she doesn't belong. Then we found out that the bride decided they wouldn't be showing a big football game during the reception. My daughter and a few other family members were looking forward to that as a way to get through the night, and losing that made her feel even more like there was no point in going. So here's what we decided. I'm not making her go to the wedding. I sent back the dress for a refund. My daughter is going to spend the day at a friend's house instead. Her parents are going to be showing the game, and my daughter is actually excited about that. I pulled my oldest out of school on Friday, and we did a special shopping trip, but for a new football jersey she can wear on Sunday, as well as some new books and lunch at a restaurant she likes. I also apologized to her, not for realizing how deep this went, but for pushing solutions instead of listening, and for understanding how painful this whole thing is for her. I know some people will think skipping a family wedding is the wrong call. Maybe it is, but this feels like the best option for us. Thank you to everyone who shared their own experiences, especially from the tall girls who said this stuff sticks with you. That really changed how I looked at the situation. Well, OP, I think you guys are making the right decision and what's best for your daughter. Everything in due time, and your daughter's not ready for all that other stuff. So here's wishing you guys the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's finish this video with a mood booster post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge, and it's by user Page with an I. I took an hour commute to get my coworker in trouble. I live about 20 minutes away from my workplace by car, and I drive every day. It's a lot more convenient for me than the hour-long public transport route, which involves multiple transfers, going into traffic, and my shifts aren't regular, changing between midnight and 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. My senior coworker also drives to work, and his shifts are only 8 a.m. We had an upcoming supplier visit that was about an hour's drive from our office. I was already annoyed with my senior because, despite all of it being his responsibility, he left me with all the tasks of coordinating the visit. All that was left was the question of who's driving. The month leading up to the visit, my senior kept making comments about not wanting to drive or asking me if I had been to that area before. I didn't want to add chauffeur to my responsibilities, so I kept rebuffing him. One day, I overheard him talking to my manager about how we still didn't really have a plan and he would figure something out. I waited like 3 days for that something to get to me, but all I got was more of the same. So, a week before the visit, I started leaving my car at home and commuting every day. I woke up an hour early and all that. I didn't mind the extra hour because I was fueled by spite, and it was an opportunity for me to catch up on my podcasts. 3 days of this, my manager noticed, and I fed him this fake story about how my brother was in town, and I lent him my car so he could see the sights with his girlfriend. I also drafted an email that I sent to my manager and my senior asking the supplier for ways to get to them because our transport plans fell through.